Ladies and gentlemen, as the national shutdown quietly begins tightening its grip on Zimbabwe's battered cities, with empty streets slowly blooming into an eerie silence of defiance, the Zimbabwe Republic Police decided it was the perfect moment to rise from their usual state of invisibility and perform their favorite trick, pointing fingers at wrong people with great confidence. In a press statement dated 23 April 2025, the ZRP warned of supposed instigators and ringleaders of violence. You'd expect them to name some warlords, rogue generals, or shadowy operatives armed with guns and cryptic code names. But no, the most dangerous threats to the state, according to our elite guardians of law and order, are Jacob Ngarivume and Amos Chibaya, two opposition figures whose worst crime recently was probably a strongly worded tweet and a clean shave. Let's pause here, because while these two men are being dragged through the propaganda grinder, the person who actually called for a shutdown, threatened to arrest Rigananda himself, and warned citizens of possible crossfire between armed factions, is walking free. Yes, blessed Geza, the digital phantom of Zimbabwe's revolution, openly told the world that there could be blood in the streets because of internal armed clashes, not because of protesters. He even begged the public to stay home to avoid getting caught in the potential chaos. But ZRP didn't even flinch. They went straight for Chamisa's allies instead, because, of course, the real threat to Zimbabwe is a peaceful opposition leader who owns a Bible and a hoodie. And just when you thought the theater couldn't get more absurd, enter Auxilia Mnangagwa, First Lady of Lavishness, Commander-in-Chief of Cultural Distractions, and now officially the patron saint of Pada and Nodo. The nation is bleeding, but Mama is busy touring rural Zimbabwe, teaching old women how to throw stones into holes and hop on one foot. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it has emerged that Auxilia was handed a jaw-dropping 60 million to lead a cultural revival program that involves reviving traditional games. You heard that right. While hospitals are turning away dying patients because there is no paracetamol, the government found it fitting to pump the GDP of a small island nation into teaching old women how to play games that cost exactly $0 to learn from their grandparents. In any other country, this would be a scandal. But in Zimbabwe, it's just a Wednesday. Let's talk about that money, $60 million. Do you know what that could buy? Let's see. 120 fully equipped maternity theaters. Instead, Zimbabwe has one functional maternity theater at Parerenyauta Hospital, built in 1977 by Ian Smith and now running on prayers and donations from Standard Bank. It could buy enough medicine to stock every district hospital for a year. It could buy a modern fire engine fleet so we don't have to watch another city building burn to the ground while firemen arrive with buckets and a hymn book. It could support a nationwide feeding scheme for undernourished school kids. It could put up a fiber optic network so people don't have to write angry tweets from bushes hunting for signal. But no, all that money went to Pada tournaments, Nodo revival boot camps, and probably a few royal-sized tents with golden spoons and silk toilet paper. And the same regime has the audacity to tell us they are arresting instigators of violence. The only violence here is being committed against logic and dignity. And just in case your irony meter hadn't exploded yet, President Emmerson Mnangagwa was at State House this very week, presiding over the swearing-in of 8 Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission (ZAC) commissioners. Yes, while the First Lady is spending millions teaching old women how to play hopscotch, and the police are harassing peaceful opposition voices, the president was hosting a straight-faced ceremony to install anti-corruption fighters, as if the looters are somewhere else, as if the fish rots from the tail. Not to be outdone, 6 new commissioners for the Defense Forces Service Commission were also sworn in, just in case someone needs help managing the chaos in the barracks while civilians argue about nodal rules. Now, let's go back to the silence. Not the silence of ZRP when looters are caught red-handed. Not the silence of the courts when gold smugglers escape justice. We are talking about the silence of one man, Nelson Chamisa. Chamisa has not endorsed the shutdown. He hasn't said a word, but that silence is louder than a Mnangagwa campaign truck with buzzed speakers. It's so deafening that the regime is already panicking. They know, and we all know, the moment Chamisa so much as clears his throat, it's over. The moment he tweets, "Let's go," the last card holding this wobbly ZANU-PF Jongwe Tower together will collapse. The reason there is calm on the streets is because Chamisa is keeping quiet. They are literally praying for him to stay mute, but what happens when he doesn't? So here we are. On one side, Geza is planning a revolution from exile, warning of gunfire between state factions, promising to bring down the corrupt. On the other hand, Chamisa is watching, waiting, calculating, and in the middle, the police are arresting activists like they are playing Pokemon Go. Gotcha, catch them all. But only if they oppose the regime. The real criminals, they are at State House, playing hopscotch with taxpayers' money, bathing in US dollars while the rest of the country queues for overpriced fuel, stale bread and expired cooking oil. Auxilia is out here giving interviews about preserving culture, while a real culture, the culture of accountability, justice and service, is being buried under a mountain of corruption and clownery. Meanwhile, the economy is free-falling. Inflation is dancing the Jerusalem dance. Vendors are being chased by police for selling tomatoes without a ZANU-PF membership card. Civil servants are earning salaries that can't even buy combi fare. But don't worry, the real national crisis, according to the police, is 2 men with WhatsApp data and a bad timing. So let's ask again, is this about law and order? Or is this about power and panic? Are the police protecting the nation or just shielding the regime from its own people? Here's a message to Zimbabweans still sitting on the fence. In 10 years, when you are still broke, still jobless, still hiding from debt collectors, still surviving on air pies and prayer juice, don't say you didn't see it coming. Don't cry with anyone. Don't ask what happened, because history is happening right now. And ZRP just told you who they are afraid of. And it's not Geza, it's you. Stay at home. Shut down the nation. This is your only way to be heard by the regime. This is the only way to express yourselves, to show Mnangagwa that we are tired of ZANU-PF theatrics and we want to reclaim our land. We want to reclaim our country and boot out all Ziganandas from our nation. We want to enjoy the fruits of our independent nation. Subscribe to Zimwaves TV before they shut down the internet. We don't play Nodo, we play the truth.